Hello guys, welcome back to Gather Now Network. My name is Amon Mukisa and I humbly request you to subscribe to Gather Now Network. For returning subscribers, thank you a lot for returning to this channel. It's always a pleasure to have you on this channel. And now today, in our quest for looking for influential people, inspiring people who tell stories to inspire you guys, today we have a renowned gentleman known as Eddie Okila. He emphasizes that his name Okila is the only name in East Africa. This and more. In this episode, we want to know how he has achieved to be a presidential runners-up of the Uganda Volleyball Federation and also to manage to own a media company known as House of Talents. So guys, give it up for Eddie Okila on the channel. Welcome.
Thank you very much.
Why the name Okila?
I don't know the real meaning of the name, but it must be really some serious stuff because my mother gave it to me. There was a whole competition between the two grandparents trying to give me the same name. They were both called Okelo on my mother's side and Okelo on my father's side. And so for some reason she said I want another name, so I was given Okila.
Did you dance that song of Ragadi later or? Remember that song?
Ragadi is my friend, and of course I love the song, and many people have teased me about it and says that did Ragadi write the song because of your name? I said, well, maybe that's the case, so I take it all in good light.
Okay.
Yeah.
So who's Okila, like in simple terms?
Okila is a very simple human being. I take life very serious. I don't have room for playing around. I'm not very liked in many circles because of being too serious with life. But I'm a very simple human being who focus on things that are human development. Where there are no people, you're not going to find me there. Where the things that we're talking about are too small, you will not find me there. But if you're talking about some really major stuff where there are people, community, society, you know, things that transcend beyond a human being, beyond one person, you will find me there. So that's in a nutshell who Okila is, a simple person who believe in transformational thinking. And of course, my main thing is looking at leadership, change management, transformation, as a means to help people.
Where have you exercised these leadership skills and transformational issues?
Because everything in life rises and falls on leadership. If you can't lead self, then you will never be successful in life. You must be able to pick yourself, appoint yourself first, and give yourself meaning. Many people out there who don't have that character in them or don't strive to be that kind of person they want to be by themselves will often fail because nobody is going to do it for you. You've got to do it. You've got to find a meaningful point in life to do that. So leadership means appoint self first. When you appoint self first, give self meaning. When you give self meaning, you will then give that meaning to others. So you cannot lead people if you can't lead yourself. It's like, for example, you can't wake up in the morning at 10, 9, 10, and you expect to tell people to wake up in the morning at 6. Okay? They will not listen.
Eddie,
yeah,
you deal with people.
Yes.
How do you deal with them? Because if you're saying leadership is self, like you exercise it yourself.
Yes.
Like how do you deal with the people? Because you work with a media company.
Yes.
And I want to know like how you deal with all those people because a media company cannot be run by one person.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if you lead yourself well, people will see the quality of a good leader in you and come to you. What you do to yourself will attract people to you. If you're a guy who dresses very poor, people will not come to you. Amon, you are well put together. People will subscribe to this channel because they see you and the way you dress, the way you carry yourself, the people you bring into this show. They will say, okay, this guy is serious. We hope to follow these guys. But if you're a guy who dresses like a mad person on the street and speak like a drunkard whose ability to reason well has been taken away by the influence of alcohol, nobody's going to listen to you. You will just be a guy who so many people come to watch to say, look at this lumpen, and that's it. But if you carry yourself with respect and value, where there is value, people will always appreciate the value and pay for the value. So I always tell people, make sure you have enough value in you. Then people will come to you. So how do I work with people at House of Talent? because I am a self-motivated person, I had to carry myself to this moment to say, I won't work for so long. I worked for 6 years in my employment, and I promised myself that when I reach 24, number one, I want to be a general manager at 24 in my employment. I achieved that. When I achieved that, I said I wanted to own a company, register a company at 22, and I did it. At 22, the company was there. I said, after I've registered that company, I want to work for 2 years. In those 2 years, I want to learn. After that, I want to go and work for myself. Why? Because I had a lot of energy to me. I gathered a lot of training from there. I needed to channel that energy here to go forward. Because they've always said that our education just give us, we are job seekers, not job creators. So I wanted to be a guy who creates job for others. You know.
Anyway, at 24, you wanted to register a company.
Yes.
What a mindset that is. At 24, what are you doing wherever you're watching us?
In fact, 24, I was a general manager
of a certain company.
Yes.
Which company was that?
Party Time Services and Euro Auto World.
And we've started on a high gear. Let's come back like on our early life. Where did Eddie Okila go to school? Where did he work before becoming a CEO of a certain company?
So in 1998, they said there was no school fees for me. I was in senior 2. Ideally, I was supposed to go back home and stay home. Probably my achievement then would have been I've gone past senior 1, so you could be sure I was going to be a chairman LC1 of a village somewhere, and you will not meet me because I had attained a certain level. But I ran away from my sister who had come to pick me and hid myself. And when I was told she had left the school, I went back and continued. This was an SDA school whose name I will not mention.
So I went to a religious school.
Yes, Seven Adventist school.
Yeah.
And so from there, I decided that since I don't have school fees, I need to work. So I started to take pictures, and taking pictures. So those days, there were these long distance studies.
Taking pictures as in a photographer?
Photographer, yes. So I learned photography, taught myself photography. I loved anything about photography. So I used that. Then somebody gave me the camera, and then I started using that. So I decided to position myself in school strategic, that if I can become a prefect, nobody will ever sit down on me. So I made sure that all through the senior 1 to senior 4, I was a prefect. So, and in different positions. The trick was very simple. When you come from a poor background, devise means to stand strong.
Of standing out
yes,
from the
yes,
others.
yes. So that nobody disturbs. So because I was a class monitor, you couldn't shout at me in class. I'm the one to control everyone in the class. Okay, and so that means I have to sell myself to them. Number 2, I became a lighting prefect, and I picked things that were very important for me. A lighting prefect because those days schools didn't have electricity, so we'll use pressure lamps to whatever, and I taught myself the skills of using the pressure lamps.
Is that 1980?
Yes, not many schools had the electricity. Yes, 1998, 99, all the way up to 2000. In fact, some schools may not even still be having. Anyway, all that taught me something. I was just trying to survive. I used photography, so there was long distance studies. Long story short, we would go for debate. The only thing you have to do to talk to a girl, you know, the high school date and what, you have 1 minute to impress a girl when you go for debate. And after that, you'll say you have a girlfriend in that school. Now, I am the guy who took pictures and sent the courier to deliver it to the other school. Now, it was 50 shillings. That paid my school fees. So it taught me something. So when I left senior 4, I had to look for a job because I knew I needed to further my education. So I found a job as a cleaner. I'll never forget this. I walked into a place and I waited for the boss, and they opened the gate. They told me that's the boss. I ran after the guy. The guy asked me, okay, who are you? I said, I'm looking for a job, sir. My broken English senior 4, you don't know much really. And then he says, they told you I'm the one who give the jobs here. I said, yes, sir. So because of my confidence, he said, okay, come in. Walked into an office. There were many guys seated. He says, this young man said he's looking for a job. People looked at me and laughed. Says, what do you want to do? Anything. I'll never forget that. Anything. Says, oh, anything. You sure? Yes. Remove your shoes. I had no idea what was going on. I removed my shoes. Fold your shirt sleeve. I did. When I folded my sleeve, and he told me, you see those people? Fold your trousers. See those people on the compound cleaning cars? They were washing something like carpets. Others were cleaning cars. He says, go and join them. There was a Munyarwanda guy there called Alera. He says, Alera, do you have another staff there? So I started cleaning. I didn't know what the salary was. I just asked, all I ask is, what will be my pay? I say, 3,000 shillings a day, as long as you come here. Find yourself here. I worked for that money, 3,000 every single day.
Where was that?
6th Street Industrial Area. I used to walk from Zambia Police Barracks to 6th Street Industrial Area where Amazon Motors is and back every single day.
But you can tell the 3,000 of the back in the days, it was like real big money.
Well, I don't think it was a lot of money at the time. This is not very long ago, 2000. And so, but there were these bands called Omwana Akaba. Back those days. Omwana Akaba, some of you guys may not know, you guys are watching this thing, but there was a band called Omwana Akaba in Uganda, Kampala. And I took that, I saved that money every day. So they told us that if you work and cleaning, we're cleaners, we cleaned. I didn't mind cleaning. So I would dress up nicely to go clean, dress up with my whatever takwat, go back home. The only thing is everyone in the community in the Kamwani zone in Zambia used to know that this guy is working, but they didn't know what I was doing.
Anyway, fast forward.
Sorry. Fast forward, I saved that money. And when I saved that money, it took me to Old Kampala, paid my school fees. That money bought my first mobile phone in life.
Which phone was that?
It was an Alcatel 624.
Guys,
yes.
Who is that phone? Sincerely speaking, I don't know that phone.
Alcatel, look for Alcatel 640. It's a very small phone, it was loud, it was good, it's expensive. And that money paid my school fees. But what I want everyone out there to know, those who watch your channel, is that when you are young, sometimes you're striving for bigger money, but you need to start small. And you need to know your situation and what you're running around, and you need to stay focused. So I walked to work every single day, and I was told, if we work past 6 o'clock, there was overtime. I said, what did you say? Overtime. How much is it? 5K. I made sure there is no 5K that missed me every single weekend. And I became the best person in that company for collecting, you know, so overtime.
The 5K was the trigger.
Yes,
for you working
so for me, yes, and I saved that money, and so I will live on 100 shillings, buying Omwana Kaba, live on 100 shillings, buying cassava chips. That's why I still eat cassava chips up to today. When I come when I go to Kamocha, I meet cassava, I eat cassava. It reminds me with chai mukalu.
Speaking about
that,
cassava,
paid my school fees.
Let's speak matters health.
Yes.
How do you handle your health lifestyle?
So to get to the point of health, before I want to finish this story with you. Yes, that money paid my school fees. And by the way, I grew up in that company until I became a general manager. I left that company when I was from 3,000. In 2006, when I left, I was being paid 2.5 million shillings with a car.
How many years did you spend in that company?
6 years.
Wow.
And by the time I left, I was 24 and I had my money. I was about there, 25 or something like that. And I had a company car. I had 2.5 million shillings at the time I was leaving from 3,000. So that's just so that you know, for your guys, that if you stay stronger, longer, you will make it. Matters of health, I was a child. When I was young, I felt sick when I was in P5 of meningitis. Meningitis almost struck my life and killed me. I was written off as a child for 1 year. My parents gave up and they said, this child is gone, don't waste your time. Fluid has messed up his brain, whatever left leg is going to be broken, the back is what or not, you know what meningitis is. So I didn't have it. So from being a very bright child in P5, 1 to 5, to being a child who was reduced to passing.
Because of that disease?
Yes. And so they said I was never going to function very well. Now, when they took me back to school, miraculously I survived, and took me back to says, he's a special need child, he just has to pass. So whenever there was a complex situation, the subject like maths, they would pull me out and take me to PE, because for me that was more important according to them. So I grew up knowing that. So I was introduced to the world of sports. Luckily enough, I never got deformed. Luckily enough, my brain is talking to you right now. It never got washed away. What I missed is being a doctor and being a pilot. So I missed. Anyway, long story short, I became a person who wanted to know where my problem was. So I started going into health and fitness and doing things, eating well, looking for things I shouldn't eat and all that stuff. Long story short, I became one of the best health and fitness coaches in this continent, with a very big specialization in what we called anatomy of human strength training.
Wow, that's a language that I don't get right now.
Muscle development, and I specialize in what they call muscle hypertrophy. So now you bring me a big fat person, I'll bring them small.
Okay.
You bring me a very small person, I'll help them build muscles. So I understand muscle in a human being and how the muscle structures in a human being work from skeletal. That was to save my life. But along the way, I proved science wrong, that I was not deformed.
So you are one kind of a person who proved science wrong.
Yeah.
Anyway,
So I eat healthy. So I eat cassava because cassava is a good food.
So speaking about health,
Yes.
you're in media, and media has a lot of challenges that comes along with health.
Yeah.
How do you handle like social media bullies? How do you handle like people who come to you trying to bully you? That will affect you mentally. How do you handle that?
I don't allow anything that doesn't add value to me to get into my skin. Life has thrown so much to me. Life has beaten me so much that there's nothing you are going to tell me. You can abuse me 1,000 times, but your abuse will not take anything, because I lived when there was no food. When I ran away from home, they couldn't find me. For 3 years in secondary school, I didn't have school fees. So if I survive by finding food and doing all these things, the abuse won't help. So for me, you can say anything people say to me, if it doesn't hurt my skin, you're wasting your time. Yes. So how do I handle social media bullies and stuff like that? First of all, I carry myself in a way in which you will find no one abusing me. Very few people will abuse me, because the things I value much relate with people's real life situation. So I have less abusers online. That's one. If in any case, I have more influential people online. Yes.
Actually, that's what I was going to ask.
Yes.
Does it come along with the people that follow you online?
Yes.
Because a person who's sensible enough won't come online to body shame you, to create a situation whereby you're going to be mentally affected.
So who you are is who you attract. Who you are is who you attract. Amon, if you dress like this, you will attract serious people behind you. If you are dressed very low, you will also attract those people behind you. So who you are is who you attract. So for me, because the way I carry myself and the way I relate with a common person, I have risen to a certain level, as you call it, but I've never lost my root with the person who live in Kamucha, who live in Chisalusalo, or who live in Butavika.
Man of people.
Yes, because I came from there. The same way you see people think that when Bobby Wine is talking, he's being proud of. No, there is a sense of connection you have with those people. So even if you are up there, you want to see more of those people coming to follow you up there. So I would be so stupid and useless in life if there is no one from down there coming, because it means I have forgotten. The more people I pull from here to come up, the more I will become successful. So my philosophy in life is very simple. Make people successful, then you will make money off them all your life.
Make people successful and you make money off them in your life. Well, today on the channel, look out for the segment, all our segment that comes along with the Gather Now extra segment, where we get to ask about different things that our guests are afraid of speaking about. So today, Okila is on a hot seat of that questions. So Okila,
yes,
a media company employs a number of journalists.
Yes.
You spoke about the 2-point-something million earlier on.
Yeah.
Do you think journalists are paid enough to do what they do?
I think yes. Like again, I said, what is your value? A journalist will be paid well enough depending on the value they give. If your value is less, you will attract less. If your value is more, you will attract more. But it's all down, I think it is all down, or it boils down rather to one thing. If you don't have value, you will also not get value. But if you're a story as a journalist, let's say you're a writer and you write stories that make sense, you're going to get paid. But if you're writing a story of Zari releasing a nude pictures,
yes,
who cares about Zari's nude pictures? Who is going to pay you for that? But if you write a story that says, for example, Bobby Wine builds roads and changes life in Kamucha, yeah, that story is going to get you point, because people would want to know, Bobby Wine building a road, what's happening to KCC, what, you know, they're going to be paid. So you see, a media person is paid based on what value they are giving. If you're a TV person like Okila or like you, Amon, you brought me here. If you bring me here and the things I'm talking about is useless, no one is going to pay you. But if the things I'm talking about resonate with the people down there, they're going to subscribe. Okay? And they would subscribe to your channel because your channel is always something they have to look up to. So yes, today, are they paid well enough? They are paid according to what they bring on the table. So if you are bringing monkeys on the table, your price is monkeys.
You know, I ask these questions because many young people who are watching us are doing such courses in campus, and they feel like whenever they see someone on TV, they want to become like them. But they don't know how much they are paid, and they don't know what they do to sustain their lives, to look good on TV. And yet, truth is, most people on TV like have deceptional life. So I wanted us to bring out this thing. You'll be shocked to find someone like who you admire on TV down Kamochi on the road, walking and without like shoes. Because you see them on TV and you're like, these guys have made it in life. So anyway, let's talk about matters related to finances. How do you handle like your finances? Because in everything, without having financial knowledge, you can't succeed. So
I will start, before I answer finance, I'll start by talking about those people you've talked about. People you see, trying to be a person that you are not will always land you into trouble. If you are studying journalism, and you want to be like me, you need to know I wash plates. You need to know I walked on the street. You need to know I started by cleaning. You need to know my salary was 3,000. You need to know what I went through before I became the person I am today. What is a problem today, Amon, is people see me and they want to be like me. Yeah, I dress in some really fine suits. But you see, I used to wear rugs. My mother taught me something. Wear one trouser a day and one shirt a day. At night, remove it, wash it, iron it in the morning. It will be damp, it will dry on you, but they will never know that it is dirty. If you do that over and over, you will dress well and you will be better. When you finally get money to buy suits, you will know the value of buying suits. So I live a very simple life by dressing on one trouser, cleaning it at night, staying naked in my kabusuka, and in the morning I dress very well and I walk, I tuck it. You will never know. So if you practice this over and over, you'll understand the value of money and the value of dressing. That when you dress up, you know it. But before you want to be like Okila and dress like Okila, no, I went through certain processes to get there. Now I don't wear any second-hand clothes. I made my life, I said I want to work so hard that 15 years down the road, I wear tailor-made bespoke suits. Only, that's my standard.
Well,
all
that's a standard.
That's my standard. It will not go down. I will not break it. It will, everything, the shirt I'm wearing is measured on me. So you too can do it, but you've got to go through a step. Now,
through steps.
Finances. How do I keep my finances? I work really hard. And when I work hard, I want to keep my money. I also make sure that when I work hard, I get paid. And when I get paid, I use my money sparingly. I don't want to use my money for something else. So you're not going to find me seeing some girl in the taxi, moving. Then I have 5,000, and then I start to pretend and says, hey, Chana, how are you? Where are you going? Then I stop around. I'm going from where you get it. Then I stop where she's stopping there. Then I go, I take my 5K. I want to buy a scoop of my ice cream, 2,000. You're already messing up your finances. You don't have. Let her be. Because if you start going that direction, you're going to get lost and your finance is going to help. So discipline with finances is very important. Account for every coin you have.
Discipline in finances.
Discipline. When you get your money, account for every coin you have and save. So for example, I learned this from the Kenyans. The Kenyans will get 10,000 shillings. They will save 8,000, eat 1,000 and spend another 1,000, but save 8. A Ugandan will get 10,000. He will eat 8,000 and save 1,000. And even later on, his friend will come and borrow that 1,000. So he will have no money.
Well, these are the lessons you need to learn from the Gather Now Network interviews, because we bring in such people who have experienced such things in life. Well, Eddie, we are juggling many things here. Media life, then we have the other kind of life whereby you're a president. I'm sitting here with a full president. Briefly share with us the experience of running for a presidential candidate.
Well, a very interesting thing. The case hasn't yet really ended, but this is what happened. Because the story I told you started from school. PE led me to volleyball, volleyball led me to sports, sports led me to football, football led me to basketball, then I came back to volleyball. Then I found a sport that has meaning, which is volleyball. Volleyball is a game of acquired skill.
Wait.
Yes.
Which has meaning? So football has no meaning, netball has no meaning.
Football has meaning, all these sports has meaning, but volleyball has more meaning. And
to you?
Is not just to me, it's a sport that teaches you, it's a game of acquired skill. Acquired skills means that it has what we call 6 fundamental basics of volleyball. One, there's what they call service, which you learn how to serve the ball. There's what they call reception, which you learn how to receive that ball when it's sent to you. There's what we call set, which means you have to serve it to another person. And then there's what they call spike. And then there's what they call block. And then there's what they call backward defense. Then there's what they call net defense. These 6 fundamentals: serve, block, receive, attack, block, defense, teaches you one thing, or many things in life. That skill is, 1, you learn how to serve others. 2, you learn how to give to others. 3, you learn how to receive from others. 4, you learn how to block negativity when they are coming to you. 5, you learn how to hit hard when they are coming to destroy you in a nice way.
So a viewer can tell where your leadership skills come from.
Yes, so all of that came from volleyball. So I grew up in volleyball. When I learned the game, I started learning, studying the game. When teaching the game, I learned how to become a volleyballer. Then I became a teacher. Then I can teach volleyball in class. Then from there, I started by being a club representative, representing club issues, players, what in the board, in the federation. From there, I became a guy who was elected to be the chairperson of Park Volleyball. Park Volleyball is a leisure part of volleyball that we played. I went through that ranks until I became the technical director of Uganda Volleyball Federation. I had reached that level, and so technical means I train others and whatnot, and plan for the nation. I left the federation at that level and I went international. When I went international, I became the first ever East and Central Africa person, the youngest in the continent to ever win an international contract.
Did I hear that well? In the continent?
The first in the continent of Africa, the youngest.
That was a milestone.
Yes.
Yeah.
Number 2, became the first international beach volleyball promoter in East and Central Africa. The closest person to me is in South Africa. And this means that I qualified to promote volleyball at a global level. So you throw me in Spain, I'll promote volleyball there. You throw me anywhere in the world, whether in America, I'll promote volleyball there. That said, so now I had achieved all of these things. Then I decided to come and run. So when I failed in 2013 running something big for Uganda, which was supposed to bring 145 countries in Uganda, 156 athletes were supposed to come and perform in Uganda, competing for $150,000. All right, 8 days in Kampala. And this was bigger than Chogam, bigger than everything. But while I was up there, I noticed that my country still had some village tendency in the city. That the people I was talking to and dealing with didn't know what I was doing. So they fought very hard to fail me.
Because they didn't understand.
Yes. And when people don't understand, you have to go back. That's why I connect with the common person. So I decided to come back to Uganda and basically begin to go back to the federation and help build the things. And the foray into that has been a lot of stuff. And that's my leadership growth. But also along the way, I started learning leadership in 2004. And I've been growing in leadership until now. I am level 5. So I remain with last level to become an international leadership coach. Okay. So
well, as we're winding up, when did you decide not to be limited to one thing? Because you're juggling a lot of things here.
Yes.
Yeah.
God wrote our story and put a comma. Human beings always put a full stop. Where there's a comma, it means the sentence is meant to continue. But we put a full stop where there's a comma. So I believe that the more things you do, the better you'll become at many things. Okay. So I don't want to be limited, because they said my head was disturbed with by meningitis. So I wanted to prove them wrong. So I take so much in my head and I deliver to their expectation.
Well, we are here on Gather Now Network, and if you haven't subscribed, I remind you to subscribe. And by the way, to watch a video of the brand show that made its debut a few days ago, click right here. It's the board talk, whereby we have various guys coming in through, and it's a whole vibe. It's not like this setup whereby it's so much like corporate. The other one is a vibe. Please click right here and watch that show. Eddie, we have this Gather Now extra segment whereby we ask every guest who comes on our channel these questions, and they get to answer them, because it's quite fun answering them. Are you ready to take on these questions?
Please,
like as I said, if you feel like not comfortable with this question, do pass.
Okay.
But it's always fun to answer them. So the first question is, there are 10 of them. The first question is, if you can't sleep, what do you do in the night?
I do exercise.
Exercise, since you're a fitness coach.
Squats, yes. Push-ups. But I will sleep.
Okay. What's the most rebellious thing you've done as a teenager?
What is that?
Rebellious.
The most rebellious thing I've done as a teenager? None.
None?
Yes.
You haven't rebelled to anything?
No.
Wow. Anyway, the third question is, what is your favorite curse word?
Curse word? Cursing? No, I've never.
You've never cursed anyone?
Yes.
You don't use any word like...
If I say you're stupid, it means you're stupid. Doesn't mean I've abused you. Yes. It means my assessment to you that you're stupid. Or you're hopeless, it doesn't mean I've abused you.
Okay.
It just means you're not hopeful. You're hopeless, yes.
Who was your first celebrity crush?
Celebrity crush, never had one, because I always wanted to be one, so that they can crush if they have to crush.
This man is wise, the one I brought on the show. He's dodging my questions, eh? Okay, who's the most famous person in your phone?
The most famous person in my phone, that would be my mother, but my mother is dead, so now that is replaced by my wife.
Okay, your wife.
Yes.
All right. What's the fashion trend that you never understood?
The fashion trend that I never understood was bell bottom.
Can I tell you something? There's a previous guest I brought in the channel. His name is Focus. He also never understood this fashion trend.
Yes.
Why? What's it so much about?
Because I didn't know why they were giving a sack for a trouser.
To go and sweeping around the road.
Yes. Why? Waste of material.
Okay. What's that one thing that makes you lose your temper?
When people feign dumb and stupid more and more and more, and they don't want to be serious.
You know what? I think we should take the word stupid as your curse word.
No, it's not, like I said, it's not being stupid, is not meaning that it means you're just not being useful to yourself.
Okay.
Yes.
What's the strongest thing you're afraid of?
Strongest things I'm afraid of is if I fail to give my yes word. My yes word means a lot. So my yes word to somebody means it's the contract. Okay. You can take it to the bank and cash it.
All right. And name 3 words that describe Eddie.
3 words that describe Eddie: simple, dependable, and believe that God controls everything. So I'm not afraid of anything.
All right. The last question is, what advice would you give to a 15-year-old Eddie?
What advice do I give to a 15-year-old? I was once your age, 15 years old. And the best thing that I started to do at your age, which started actually at 12, was trying to turn those wired cars we used to make, those small little things we used to make when we were young, was to start thinking about my dream. And when I reached 13, I started to practice my dream. When I reached 15 is a definitive age. What do I want to be in life? I want to structure myself in that point and actually be serious. So if you're studying SST, how does SST help you? If you are studying science, how does it help you in your dream? Assuming your dream is to be a doctor, is what you're studying going to make you be a doctor? Do they fit in your dream to be a doctor? If they don't focus on it.
Anyway, Eddie, thank you for coming on the show. Since it's COVID, let's have a fun. This is called what?
This is a feast.
A feast.
Yes.
Okay, thanks for coming on Gather Now Network once again. And I hope you get a word or two about this interview. By the way, do tell us which guests you want to see on the channel so that we get to bring them on the channel and hear their stories. Maybe you'd want to listen to a certain person and you want to get a certain information from them, but you have no access. Do let us know in the comment section. Otherwise, I hope you've taken a word or two. Like as I said, what you're doing in life right now matters a lot. Is it going to help you tomorrow or the next day? What you're doing? That's a question you need to contemplate on and answer for yourself. Otherwise, I've been your host of the most, Amon Mukisa, and let me see you in the next episode.